Now at 9, Miami economic leaders host an open house to discuss a new chicken waste facility coming to Ottawa County. Plus, questions arise after residents in Carthage experience a series of power outages.
U.S. and Ukrainian diplomats sit down in Saudi Arabia to map out an end to the war with Russia. I'm Rebecca Castor in Washington with the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Carthage man pleads guilty in the murder of his wife in Kansas. This is KOAM and News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Gavino McJunkins Macias entered a guilty plea for murder in the second degree, unintentional but reckless, in the death of his wife, Kenya Lopez, also from Carthage. And police found her body last June inside a camper trailer on the 600 block of North Main Street in Carthage. The investigation revealed a homicide had happened in Miami County, Kansas, and concluded in Carthage. His sentencing for second-degree murder in Kansas is next month. On the Missouri side, prosecutors charged him with abandonment of a corpse. That case is ongoing. Community members attended a public open house in Miami tonight for a controversial facility that would use chicken waste to produce a methane-based gas. And the possibility is drawing concerns from residents and environmental groups alike. KOAM's Samantha Walker has the details.
The application from Argo Development Partners for an air permit with the Oklahoma Department of Environment Quality is drawing concerns from Ottawa County residents and environmental agencies alike.
We are probably less than a half a mile from it, so we have a lot of concerns.
The proposed facility by Argo, referred to as the Oklahoma Bioprocessing Project, would bring in over 160,000 tons of chicken litter from local farmers a year, creating renewable natural gas, liquid fertilizer, and solid fertilizer.
We have, probably almost, definitely more than $10 million in odor control. We have a lot of engineering that's gone into this, a lot of water treatment chemical project. Sort of design and engineering that's gone into the plant.
Following community concerns, Argo and the Miami Area Economic Development Service are providing an overview of the project for the community. Details include project engineering, operating plans, permits, health and safety, and community benefits. We know there's a lot of information that's floating around on Facebook and other sources, and we just want to present what we're doing, and so the public can decide for themselves, what we're doing here. The open house also allows for questions and comments from the public. Community members have raised a variety of concerns regarding the facility, for example, the smell it might emit. Organizers hope the open house can help address those questions,
so that you can be better informed on what this project really is, and then make a decision whether or not you're in favor of it or not. We're not telling anybody to support the project or to be against the project. We simply want everyone to have the opportunity to get their questions answered.
Attendees say it's important for them to have the facts on what changes might be coming to their community.
How this project's going to be built, the science behind it, they're going to know. They're not just going to take a word like poultry litter and run with it. They're going to have the actual knowledge of what it is.
You don't learn much on Facebook, no.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality is holding another meeting about the permit on April 2nd. The agency will be taking comments from the public during that meeting. Well, officials announced a new source of drinking water for part of Missouri. Storage space in Stockton Lake will now be reallocated to provide drinking water to communities throughout southwest Missouri. Now, part of the reallocation will also include an industrial water supply. Spokesperson for Southwest Missouri Water says the project will provide 38 million gallons daily with no major impact on the lake. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Cuddy joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be a beautiful Tuesday for us today, especially in the month of March, as we went all the way up into lower 80s, 82 for a high, record high. 85 degrees set back in 1967, well above our average of 58 degrees, and we're going to stay fairly nice as we go through the next couple days. Still 64 in Joplin, 65 in Pittsburgh. We've had those kind of strong southerly winds all day long, still breezy. South winds gusting 20 upwards to about 25, even 30 at times. It will stay kind of breezy for us tonight and breezy as we go through the next couple days, but look at our temps sitting into the mid 60s, pretty much clear skies, few little clouds just to our west, so we'll call it partly cloudy skies for us later on tonight, and partly sunny on Wednesday, but warm. Upper 70s to near 80 once again. The wind is really going to return. We're going to talk about that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Carthage residents go through another round of power outages today. Residents say it's causing a growing frustration throughout the community. In response to their concerns, we reached out to Carthage Water and Electric to get some answers. KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports.
Every week to every 2 weeks, we have a power outage. We had one last week. It lasted for 3 hours.
Susan Meyer is a Carthage resident. Today, she had to struggle to get ready because she had no lights and she needed her coffee.
And I drove from one side of town looking for a coffee place open to the other side. Ended up driving to Joplin to buy a cup of coffee because the entire town, the power is out.
And why did she have to do that? We reached out to Chuck Bryant, the manager of Carthage Water and Electric, to see why there was another outage today.
What happened today was there was a failure of a piece of equipment in the substation on the south end of Carthage.
Bryant says this substation has nothing to do with his department.
It is not our substation. It is the substation of the Department of Energy. It's a federal substation for SPA, Southwest Power Administration. And we have no jurisdiction or ability to go in and make any repairs or fix anything.
Well, how powerful is this substation that Bryant is talking about?
And it trips offline. It creates the whole city will be dark, and that's what happened this morning.
With that said, Bryant says the SPA knows what's going on and are currently working to resolve it.
They've assured us that the power has been restored. There's some repairs that will be done in the next couple of weeks.
Now, this truly will make Meyer happy.
Everything's fine. Not having my morning cup of coffee now, that's a real problem there.
Reporting in Carthage, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
We did reach out to the Southwestern Power Administration. They said they currently have temporary fixtures in place and are working hard to find a permanent solution. Well, coming up, a pause in the trade war.
A pause in the trade war between the U.S. and Canada after President Trump announced a doubling of tariffs starting tomorrow. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington with the latest coming up.
But first, the flu may have peaked, but it's still packing a punch. We look into growing concerns about next year's flu vaccine and why the Health and Human Services Secretary canceled the annual meeting to start planning for it. This year's flu season is still the worst in decades, but it appears to have peaked in many areas. And now there are new concerns about next year's flu and whether the country will be ready. Fox News correspondent Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
The flu may have peaked, but it's still packing a punch. Nationwide, the CDC reports fewer people testing positive and fewer seeking treatment. But the hospitalization rate is still higher than it's been in 15 years. And doctors across the country are warning now is not the time to let down your guard.
We sometimes see a peak of one strain and then a couple weeks later another peak. Don't go to work if you're sick. Don't go to school if you're sick.
Most health officials are also advising folks that the flu vaccine is the best protection against serious infection, but some are sounding the alarm after the FDA confirmed a meeting of its flu vaccine advisory panel had been canceled and not rescheduled. That's significant because drug makers make their vaccines based on recommendations from that panel, and they need to start soon in order to get ready for next year.
This is really important because influenza viruses change and we don't always see the same thing from year to year.
HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. has not said whether the meeting will be put back on the calendar, but he told Fox News that his main vaccine focus will be transparency and choice.
The CDC in the past has not done a good job at quantifying the risks of vaccines. We are going to do that now so that people can make a real informed choice.
The CDC says it's planning a new study on whether vaccines cause autism, though there is no scientific evidence suggesting they do. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Well, today marks 5 years since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 pandemic. It was the beginning of a wave of illness that took millions of lives worldwide. It also forced our local businesses and schools to make a lot of changes.
Not all changes that came about through the pandemic were bad. I was up here at the high school at the time as principal, and it forced us to think about some things differently. There's no real policies or anything that we've changed that have lasted over time, but practices and the way that we do things inside our buildings are different, and in a lot of ways, in positive ways, because of the forced changes that we had to go through as a district.
Just one of many signs the pandemic has lifted. The federal government is no longer accepting orders for free COVID-19 tests. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later it's time to play ball as the city of Carthage cuts the ribbon on a long-awaited new baseball field.
Well, of course, a great day for us today. Temperatures all the way up into lower 80s for afternoon highs. Only 3 degrees shy of the record high across the region. Looks great. Right now, we have a great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We are looking downtown Joplin off toward the north and to the east through downtown. A little bit windy at times for us today. We still have wind kicking in, those southerly winds at about 15 to 20, upwards to 25 miles per hour. And at times, we're still getting some gusts that are kind of high. At least some gusts have been kind of in the range of 30 upwards to about 35. It stays breezy for us tomorrow, but the winds come down just a bit, which is good. And they stay that way on Thursday. So it's going to be breezy Wednesday, breezy Thursday, but it gets super windy once we go into Friday. We could have gusts 50 upwards to 60 throughout the day on Friday evening into Friday night, and then even Saturday. It's still going to be windy, but the winds will come down just a little bit. All right, temperatures looking pretty good. We're still into low to mid 60s across the region. Feels pretty good. We have some clouds out across central western Kansas, so let's call it partly cloudy skies for us tonight after midnight, but the next few hours look pretty good. Here's our next little storm system out across parts of Southern California into Arizona. It's a weak system, mainly passing to our south as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow, and then another system right behind it, and that's going to be the one that gives us the winds as we go into Friday. All right, let's go through time. Weak system passes by, stronger storm system rolls out on Friday. Here's our upper level low right across Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, kind of that Four Corners area. And the storm is leaning back toward the west. So negative tilt puts the severe weather on the southeast side, most likely just to the south and east of the region, but we could still get a few thunderstorms in here. All right, severe threat tomorrow just south of the area. So we're looking from Fayetteville, Fort Smith down toward Texarkana. On Friday, mainly just east. Central Missouri, Arkansas, greatest threat. St. Louis, Jonesboro, down toward Memphis as we get into Friday. So it's going to be active, but at least the severe weather is kind of mainly working around the region. All right, partly cloudy skies for us tonight. Again, still breezy tomorrow, lower 70s by noon. We get a lot of mid, upper level clouds during the afternoon. So that may keep our temperature down just a bit compared to what we had today. But I still think we'll go 78, 79 degrees. A few scattered showers skirt just to our south tomorrow night. They should kind of rotate around us. And then we look pretty good. So let's go into Thursday. We start low to mid 50s once again, and then right back up upper 70s to near 80 degrees Thursday afternoon. 77 on Friday, a few scattered showers trying to pop up late in the day. We clear out, cool down for the weekend, but back to where we should be for this time of the year, and then back into the 70s once again by the time we get into early next week.
I know we're supposed to be in the 50s, but I don't mind it at all in the 70s.
I know, 70s are pretty nice.
It's a nice tease. All right, thanks, Dad. Well, coming up, eliminating tax credits.
A bill in Kansas could eliminate tax credit towards affordable housing. I'm Melissa Alexis, and I'll have more on this story coming up.
A Kansas House bill could eliminate affordable housing tax credits. As KOAM's Melissa Alexis shows us, affordable housing tax credits contribute to the building of various homes across Kansas and in the city of Pittsburgh.
This would have a huge effect.
It's a bill proposed by Sean Tarwater, a member of the Kansas House of Representatives. The bill, if it becomes a law, would eliminate tax credit that's used to build affordable homes throughout the state of Kansas. Representative Tarwater believes the program is too costly. The housing director for the city of Pittsburgh, Kim Froman, says if it becomes a law, it would negatively impact Pittsburgh.
Be individuals that might be on waiting lists or in those housing units. And if we don't create more units and more opportunity, those individuals could become homeless.
Thousands of affordable homes throughout the state of Kansas have been built through this tax credit. The assistant director of housing for the city of Pittsburgh says affordable homes in Pittsburgh have also been built through this tax credit.
A critical need for affordable housing in Pittsburgh. So with the loss of these type of tax credits, I think it will give the city a burden, likely heighten the difficulty of meeting that demand.
Froman says there are 431 affordable housing units in Pittsburgh that came about through this tax credit, including Pittsburgh Highlands, Sycamore Village, Pittsburgh Seniors, Stillwell Apartments, and more. The city of Pittsburgh even has upcoming projects in the works that wouldn't have been possible without this tax credit.
Remington Square, Pittsburgh Seniors, Sycamore Village.
That would be a lot of people that wouldn't have a place if those projects didn't come to fruition.
Both Froman and Keener say eliminating this could potentially increase homelessness in Pittsburgh.
Because it's going to rise the prices of other housing up, I feel. So it's going to make units not affordable. So those individuals may have to move out. It may make waiting lists longer than they already are.
A city standpoint, and also just being, a citizen of this community and seeing the need and driving around and feeling it in our community, to lose this would be really detrimental.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The Kansas House approved the bill. It is now in the Senate. Up next, Neosho city leaders host an open house to learn about Proposition A and the improvements they have planned for the community. Neosho residents learn about Proposition A tonight at an open house hosted by the Neosho Next Committee and the Chamber of Commerce. Voting yes for Prop A will allow for a use tax to help pay for a new aquatic center, pickleball courts, an inclusive playground, and golf facility upgrades.
We have several of these open houses coming. So basically over the next few weeks, we're doing all we can to educate the community on what projects the Proposition A, the use tax funds, will be used for, answer questions, and hopefully have people as well informed as possible for the election.
The use tax would be a 3% local sales tax applied to online purchases. Voters will decide on the future of Prop A on April 8th. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way as trade tensions heat up. Both Canada and the U.S. put a pause on current tariffs. In high-stakes talks, Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets with Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia amid rising tensions and a massive drone strike on Russia.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A temporary pause in the escalating trade war between the U.S. and Canada after President Trump announced the imposed tariffs would soon double. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has the latest.
Rather than waiting till April the 2nd, threats going back and forth, tit for tat, I've agreed to suspend.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford announcing a pause in the trade war between the U.S. and Canada, saying cooler heads must prevail, and that Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick extended a, quote, olive branch to Canada, inviting him to visit Washington for further negotiations.
I apologize that we have to even do this. We have to get to this point, but sometimes you have to play your cards, and this is one of the cards that we played.
Ford announcing the temporary break in the tit-for-tat tariffs after President Trump announced Tuesday he was doubling the 25% tariffs to 50%, raising taxes on Canadian steel and aluminum imports. The president's increase coming in response to Ontario charging Americans in part of 3 border states 25% more for electricity. Ford also threatened to cut electricity exports to the U.S. altogether, saying, quote, until the threat of tariffs is gone for good, Ontario won't back down.
There's a very strong man in Canada who said he was going to charge a surcharge or a tariff on electricity coming into our country. And it would have been a very bad thing if he did. And he's not going to do that, so I respect that.
The president's added tariffs coming despite another steep stock market sell-off and rising risks of a recession.
You can't attack your number one customer, Canada, and not expect a response.
In a joint statement between Commerce Secretary Lutnick and Ontario Premier Ford, the two announced a meeting will take place this Thursday. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Well, today, the National Transportation Safety Board is urging immediate action to avoid another mid-air disaster at Reagan National Airport following the January collision between an Army Black Hawk helicopter and an American Airlines jet that left 67 people dead. The NTSB says between October of 2021 and December of 2024, there were more than 15,000 instances of helicopters in close proximity to planes at the airport. Some flying as close as 75 feet away from commercial planes. The NTSB is urging the FAA to permanently prohibit helicopter operations on that route when DCA's two nearby runways are being used for departures and landings. American and Ukrainian officials are in Saudi Arabia today to discuss ending the three-year war with Russia. But U.S. negotiators say both Ukraine and Russia will need to make concessions. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest on this high-stakes meeting.
You're gambling with World War III.
Just a little over a week since Ukrainian President Zelensky's now infamous White House visit, American and Ukrainian officials are sitting down in Saudi Arabia to try and map out an end to the war with Russia.
Are you open to a partial ceasefire?
While the leaders didn't respond to questions this morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio told reporters Monday,
The most important thing that we have to leave here with is a strong sense that Ukraine is prepared to do difficult things, like the Russians are going to have to do difficult things to end this conflict.
For Ukraine, that likely means ceding territory, something Zelensky has so far refused to agree to. And for now, Kyiv is keeping up the fight, launching its largest drone attack of the war on Russia just before the talks. But Ukrainians find themselves in a tough spot, especially after President Trump paused military aid and intelligence sharing following that Oval Office shouting match with Zelensky.
From the very beginning of the war, we've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
Ukraine doesn't survive without American intelligence sharing and American military equipment. I mean, they don't survive for long. So Ukraine has really no choice. They've got to show some goodwill here.
The minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine is also still on the table, but Secretary Rubio says it's not the focus of today's meeting. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. Your skills and confidence at work can be more fun than you think. We learned the concept of leisure work synergy.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a warm and windy one for us today. Winds gusting 30 upwards to 40 miles per hour at times. It gets worse by Friday, but they go down a little bit for us tomorrow and also Thursday. And our temps all the way up into lower 80s during the afternoon. Still windy. Still, we have southerly winds. Outside right now, you can see our gusts kind of 20 to 25, or actually sustained winds. Still some gusts. Kind of 25 upwards to 30. The winds will continue to drop as we go through the overnight hours tonight, but breezy on Wednesday, southerly winds 10 to 15. Stays breezy again on Thursday, and then our winds really get moving as we go toward Friday. We'll have gusts 50 upwards to 60 miles per hour. So very similar, maybe a little bit stronger than what we had early last week. Mid 60s, not a whole bunch going on. We have some clouds starting to work in. We got our next weak little system that's going to pass to our south. So here it is down toward Las Vegas and Los Angeles. Quickly ejects out tomorrow, but it keeps most of the rain just south of us. Here's that stronger storm system moving out on Friday. Doesn't have a lot of moisture to work with until it passes by, so it's not going to give us a lot of rain, but it's going to give us the wind as we go into Friday. All right, severe threat tomorrow, but south of us, so that's good. Really from Fayetteville down toward Texarkana. Let's go to Friday. Severe threat mainly just east of us. So you can see it kind of rotates around us as we go through the next couple days, but we could still get some thunderstorms, especially as we go into Friday afternoon. All right, tonight's going to be fine, partly cloudy, low to mid 50s, so it doesn't get too cold. Back into lower 70s by noon tomorrow. We get a lot of mid and upper level clouds. So with those clouds, it may keep our temps down a few notches compared to what we did see today. But I still think 78 to about 80 across the region. Tomorrow night, you can see those showers and thunderstorms kind of skirt just south of us. So we'll mainly stay dry. We drop back mid 40s or 50s again. And then by Thursday, much of the same. Sunshine, breezy, upper 70s to near 80 degrees. Day planner on your Wednesday, 55 to start, 69 by noon. High temp, 79, well above, 20 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Let's go into Friday afternoon. So we'll start to get scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm, but watch as they pass east, this is where they start to blossom. So really any thunderstorms, mainly central Missouri, eastern Missouri, and then continue to work away from us. We'll most likely get some scattered showers, but the main threat here is going to be the very gusty winds across the region as we go into Friday. All right, 79 on your Thursday. Let's do 79 again on, well, tomorrow and Thursday. 77 on Friday with those scattered showers. Cooling down for the weekend, but still nice, right where we should be for this time of the year, and then we warm right back up next Monday and Tuesday.
Almost feels like baseball weather.
It feels pretty good outside.
All right, thanks, Doug.
You bet.
Well, the city of Carthage celebrates the grand opening of its long-awaited baseball field with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Videographer Ty Parks attended the opening and brings us the details.
This has been a project that has spanned a few years now. We're so thankful for the community for their continued support of our program, and we're excited to unveil this site for the community. We tell our players all the time, and they believe this, we have the best facilities in the state because they're ours. You know, when you go back and think about the history of the Carthage baseball program, Carl Luton has been a great site for us, but we're excited to be on campus and excited to make more memories here. It's fit around 250 to 300 people. We have some temporary bleachers set up, and then there's also some access for people to bring lawn chairs and do different things. So we're excited to see how many people it can fit because our community has just given us so much support. We're excited to play for them. The best things that I've seen so far is just watching our high school kids walk out of the building and come straight to practice. It's been a huge benefit for our practice time and just from transportation logistics, when you talk to our bus people and everything, not having to get our kids from the high school to across town, it's been a relief for everyone.
Definitely a privilege. We're all very grateful for everything that people have done, whether it's the builders building it or the ones that donated to help make it happen. We're just very grateful and excited for the season. Our morale is definitely up. We know that there's something to prove. Coming off a good season last year, we definitely want to make that better, and we want to just show everybody that we're not just okay with winning, we want to do more.
Well, coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State's head volleyball coach resigns from her position. Plus, a summer collegiate baseball team is coming to Fort Scott. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
A summer collegiate baseball team is coming to Fort Scott. The Mid-America League holds a press conference at La Roche Baseball Complex this afternoon to announce that it will be the new home of the league's 7th franchise starting in summer 2026.
We are here today to announce Fort Scott as the 7th team in our franchise and the first team in the great state of Kansas. So really exciting for that opportunity for the city.
Our hope is that at some point in the future, we'll be watching the World Series and we can look back and say, hey, that kid played in Fort Scott. Let's hopefully that happens in our lifetime.
This league brings with it the promise of exciting matchups, unforgettable moments, and a deeper connection between fans, players, and our town.
The team does not have a name yet. To suggest one, you can do so at fortscottbaseball.com. We do know they'll play their games at Dave Regan Stadium at LaRoche Baseball Complex, which is home to the Fort Scott High School baseball program. And this summer, the Joplin Outlaws will play a 3-game series there from July 11th to the 13th. Well, Labette County girls basketball played rival Fort Scott twice in the regular season and lost both times. This past Saturday, the Lady Grizzlies faced the Lady Tigers for a 3rd time in the Sub-State Championship, and they won in overtime. Now, after taking down Fort Scott in the Sub-State title game, Labette County girls basketball is headed to the Class 4A state tournament for the 2nd year in a row. This afternoon, the Lady Grizzlies hit the practice floor, making some final preparations before their trip to Salina and reflect on the overtime victory that got them here.
I asked them to look at me in the eyes. Don't have your eyes wandering. Don't look down. Don't look defeated in those moments, even though we lost, and especially against Fort Scott. And I never had doubt. I never saw them doubt in those moments. And I think we've seen that throughout our season of close games. How do we get through those moments? And it's by believing in each other and believing in ourselves.
I think it just helps that a lot of the girls, I can see 4 or 5 of them that have played on that stage before, and I think we're ready for it. There's not really any pressure. Well, there's always pressure, but there's not nervousness because we've been there before. We know what we're doing. We're experienced. We're an older team, so I think we're ready for that challenge.
Over in Missouri high school basketball, Aurora faces Logan Rogersville in a Class 4 sectional for the 2nd night in a row. Now, yesterday, the Wildcats boys team knocked Aurora out of the playoffs. Tonight, the same happens to the girls. Lady Hounds fall 60-44. Their season comes to a close in the sectional round of the playoffs with a final record of 23-6. And some major coaching news this morning. Pittsburgh State head volleyball coach Jen Gomez has resigned after 9 years of leading the Gorillas. Gomez is stepping down as PSU's head volleyball coach and accepting a position as the activities director for Pittsburgh High School in USD 250. She will assume this position following Jeff Staley's retirement on July 1st. And according to a press release from PSU Athletics, Pitt State Athletic Director Jim Johnson plans to expedite a search to find Gomez's replacement as the next head volleyball coach. That's it for sports. We're back right after this.
While mental health experts say it's important to have ample time to relax after a hard day's work, researchers say you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, bolstering your career development through hobbies in your free time. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look at leisure work synergy and how to tell if it might be for you.
Looking to get ahead at work without having to spend more time on the clock? Researchers at Purdue University say a practice called leisure work synergy may help.
Leisure work synergizing is basically bringing aspects of your work life into your leisure or free time in ways that hopefully build your skills and competencies for work.
Behavioral experts recommend looking for ways to expand your professional development through your hobbies.
So for example, I am an avid reader. In the evenings, I love to pick up a book and just relax. And so if I'm leisure work synergizing, I'm choosing the latest popular press book on leadership or growth mindset instead of my usual fictional historical novel.
And the possibilities could be endless. It just comes down to identifying specific skills you want to refine in your free time.
Another example would be that I am a former musical theater kid. I would love to take an improv class. Perhaps I take an improv class in part to hone my skills in the classroom as an instructor and professor, enjoying the free time, enjoying the class, but knowing that I'm doing it strategically to enhance my work skills as well.
Analysts at Purdue University found many people engaging in leisure work synergy reported feeling more self-assured on the job.
They're feeling confident, they have something new to bring to work, and that allows them to thrive.
But this practice isn't for everyone. Researchers say some people need to have a strong divide between their work and personal lives.
So these kind of practices really work as long as you don't feel like you're sacrificing your time for work. That's just more working. But rather you are using your leisure time in ways that take care of more than one thing at a time.
Ted Linder, Fox News.
Still to come, The Last of Us Season 2 and You Season 5 trailers. Plus, LL Cool J has a new gig. Those stories and more coming up in Hollywood Nation. This year's host and special honorees have been announced for Fox iHeartRadio Music Awards. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has this and more in Hollywood Nation.
You okay?
Joel and Ellie return, Conan travels, and LL will run the show in today's Hollywood Nation. LL Cool J is the host of the 2025 iHeartRadio Music Awards. He shared it'll be a night of iconic moments and special collaborations. The show will also pay tribute to Los Angeles following the wildfires and drive donations to fireaidla.org. Performers include Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish. Lady Gaga will receive the Innovator Award, Nelly the Landmark Award, and Mariah Carey the Icon Award. The show airs live from the Dolby Theater March 17th on Fox.
I'm Conan.
From the Oscars Stage 2, Traveling the World, Conan O'Brien Must Go has been renewed for Season 3 ahead of its Season 2 premiere. The Max series features O'Brien visiting people he meets through his podcast. Coming up are New Zealand, Austria, and Spain. Season 2 streams this May.
What's inside?
Max also shared a look at The Last of Us Season 2. The official trailer shows returning stars Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, with new cast members including Caitlin Dever. Set 5 years after the events of Season 1, Joel and Ellie are drawn into a conflict with each other and a world more dangerous than what they left behind. The show returns April 13th on HBO and Max.
Hello, you.
An official trailer was also released for the 5th and final season of You, starring Penn Badgley as Joe Goldberg. This last chapter has Joe back in New York City as a married man whose perfect life unravels as his past resurfaces. You returns to Netflix April 24th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of brown bears playing at a zoo in England. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.